points. If MnM wins it, they'll go up to 10, just above Homeless and Penta.
Ooh, exciting stuff. I know you love your numbers, Hap. I know we're going to come back to those a bit later on, though. Let's see which map we're going to be playing on in this series. Giving the Magic, 7, 6 down, 1 to go. Cafe Dostoevsky, MnM removing Oregon very quickly. Stein, how do you see this going?
Quickly scrolling through, and well, Penta, they're a team that knows how to play many maps, so I don't think they'll be too worried about the choice between Oregon and Cafe. I think they're going to be feeling confident on both, and they are seriously one of the teams to beat right here, so I hope MnM will bring their A game.
Fluke?
Same story. You're obviously looking at two very, very good teams. Although obviously MnM are from the region after my heart, but Penta, they're players that we all know, love and respect. So this is two very good teams knocking heads, and I think these are two teams that both you could very easily be in the tier 1.
We had a... Okay, we can actually take our time and now talk about things as we needed to remake things. So here we are. Why is Penta so good, Hap? Why are they rated so highly in a lot of people's minds, including yours?
Well, it all started out back in the day, Challenger League Season 11.
Oh boy.
Me and Fluke were only just bare CL casters back in the day, and well, Penta started to play, and they had to change their roster as they wanted to go full French, which meant that after the first game day, they were able to make their changes. Then Blast came to the roster, and suddenly they started to just completely wreck everybody and throw everybody on their sides. And it looked like for a while they were going to be the ones steamrolling from the bottom of the leaderboard all the way to the top of the CL standings. But then Sisu attacked, and they changed the entire story. They changed the entire playground. They managed to knock them out and, well, doom them and condemn them to yet another season of Challenger League, which we are on right now. And it looks like Penta, this time around, is starting stronger. They are starting and staying strong, and they already confirmed themselves to the playoffs.
So then that experience that Penta brings to the board, how does that shape up against a team like MnM that a lot of times, I mean, a lot of teams have moved through the MnM brand, and we all talk about Na'Vi going through that in EU League, but what does this MnM squad really bring to the table really quickly, Fluke?
I mean, if you want to talk about MnM versus Na'Vi, we could talk about them recently playing them in the UKIN finals to get here and taking them 7-1 on Cafe, taking a massive lead and leap into that game and being able to dispatch them. They have some of this solidity that some of the other UK rosters have struggled with. MnM have always been a team that's always kind of been close to the cutting edge, but they haven't quite made it. A couple of roster changes leading into this. Obviously, they lost Blur. Obviously, they had to bring in some replacements, but now they've got some time to warm up. Users are starting to find his own. You've got Fonkers as well. This is a high potential roster if they can just get it together on a day.
All right, let's see how they do it. MnM versus Penta Sports, and it's just a tune. Take us through it. Go ahead.
It's on our second most favourite map, Jess. Guess where we're going to? It's going to be Cafe. What a dream world. Villa and Cafe seem to be where we have spent a lot of time this week, and these are two teams that you can't wait to see show off on this map. MnM and Penta, two names that many people had in their predictions to be the two teams that make it out of Challenger League. Penta so far giving very good reason for that. MnM also looking phenomenal, but did have that draw against Kavana, which leads to a few questions. One thing's for sure, this is going to be an absolute screamer of a game.
Well, depending on the outcome of this matchup, Homeless have actually overtaken MnM on the leaderboard, at least in Group B. And that's a pretty tricky one there because they started off the season super rough here. So for MnM, I expect big things out of them here. But you're going up against the best in your group. In fact, Penta have only lost 8 rounds throughout all of their matchups here. And that is the tiniest by far, only, sort of followed by MnM with 11.
Yeah, they've been pretty dominant. They had a 7-2 over the Boars back in the first week. They beat August 7-1 in week 2. And only last week, the game against Beekine was a little bit closer. And maybe that gives fair reason. The fact that Penta and Beekine was so close, of course, they play each other in the French league. MnM and Kavana equally was a 6-6. So it feels where teams are a bit more used to each other. Maybe that's where you're seeing slightly closer fixtures coming out. Not that it matters here, as these are two teams that won't have played against each other a whole lot. We have rifled through these bans pretty quickly, mind you. They're the Thatcher, the Ying, the Wamai, and of course, everyone's favorite ban, it seems, at the moment, the Valkyrie, also coming out for Cafe, Jess.
It'll be interesting to see the mirror still in play because I know for Penta, they're quite confident in running the mirror. We saw her on Theme Park. That was a key cornerstone part of their holds. So if you can run a mirror really well on Theme Park, mind you, it's a pretty easy map to run it, then it's very likely you're going to be able to run it upstairs on Cafe as well, even on multiple other sites with top floor holds. I think here, just looking at those bands, looking at Penta starting defense, I think the first half might sway towards them naturally. But we're going to have to see exactly how MnM play this. The Carly coming out there for Nate. I hope that stays in because it's actually a counter to Clash. It won't.
No.
But the 6-pick over to Sophia, which is also a counter for Clash, will work wonders, and the 6-pick onto the mirror as expected. All things going pretty well for both of these teams composition-wise.
And a couple of changes coming in towards the end, but we'll see that Clash stick. Now, we've seen Clash band away a hell of a lot in the last couple of weeks across both EU and APAC. I think because some teams especially have got a bit of a lean towards it. Some teams just really don't want to deal with the trouble that it brings, but equally I've seen others with things like the Zofia deal with the Clash very, very well. So we'll see how effective Cactus can be on this team for Penta. Speaking of Penta, if you haven't seen them before, Blaz is absolutely the player you want to keep your eyes on. He is the fragger for the team. However, I think it's worth us just giving a small nod towards some other members. Revan especially has been an absolute beast in some of their games and really giving a fair challenge to Blaz as being the #1 fragger for the team.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of huge names on this roster. Obviously, you know, you're looking at Ravan and Enemy. They've been part of this team, or they've been on a team together for years and years and years. They know each other off by heart. You know, if you want a team full of really hyper experienced players in tier 1, tier 2 and beyond, those are the players to be looking at for game sense related stuff. Blaz is the super gunner that they needed to just supercharge them. They've got that. And then on the side of Eminem, I would say probably the most experience I can look towards is Fonkers, and then the rest are quite young, really heavy, ready to go gunners. And we speak about Blaz, I reckon he's ready to jump out here. I don't think they put an air jab there from knowledge, so he might get a free ace kill, which is exactly what Penta needs to kick this off.
We saw someone playing in this spot actually in Museum window just the other day and immediately have someone walk up on the other side and shoot them through the window because of the drone play that was coming in from the attackers. But I think here Blaz should be okay. As an idea, there are drones chasing him around on red stairs, so being mindful of this. Doesn't want to find himself getting pre-fired through the window or anything too crazy. Fonkers once again catching him out. Is this where going to be where the pre-fire comes in? Is he still present? No, he's not, as he has moved away, so that's another fair excuse to get back on the drone. Have a second chance potentially, but Blaz, I think he's a bit too smart on this one. He knows what's going on after those bullets came flying through, and he's going to retreat himself back downstairs. Good time wasted, but now he can come up towards white stairs and try and cause some damage from behind with the rest of his team.
There was an air jab there to begin with anyway, so Fonkers had already air jabbed that off, so it wouldn't have mattered what he had done. Cactus, be careful, there goes another air jab, and that's something that you can use to dispatch your Clash. It's not the most popular method, but it still absolutely works. And for the most part now, they've wasted half of the round just trying to get this piano control. No pixel shield there, and that's probably because you've got the mirror instead. And what they're trying to do is protect Ravan here. He's in bathroom. They want his position to be held because he's got a really power position with all these walls opened up. You're coming up to the 60-second mark, and where's the wall denial? They don't have any.
There it is.
That's the wall denial?
It's possibly a little bit mobile, and I mean, it works. It means the wall should stay close here until potentially another Selma comes ringing out. There you go. Are they going to have to stop this one out? Because something tells me they will not be able to unless they can do something alternative. Answer is no, they cannot. However, alive. Onto Dats, who is no longer alive. Smokes are starting to ring out, which screams the execute is going to happen. Yonka tried to make it in through bar, but gets down from below by alive, I think, here. So not going to be able to convert that into a plant right now. No drones left aside for the MnM. This is going to be playing purely blind and relying almost entirely on the gun skill to get things done. But sadly, there is gun skill on the other side. It's Blad, a 2K coming out. We're having to pick up one onto Nath as well. It's all down to one man left alive inside a cigar. Fonkers not able to go bonkers in this round at least. Penta take round #1.
What I like about that there from Penta was that mirror, I wouldn't say is a pretty usual mirror to play. Most of the time you just go throw it over towards top wide and open everything up towards piano and have a long line of sight that way. By having that mirror there, you can not only see over to the default plant, you can see both default plants at once from one singular mirror. Not bringing a wall denial interested me a bit. I mean, Thatcher's banned, so you might have, forced him to bring a Carly or a Maverick to deal with that. You could impact trick it, as you saw before. So that was interesting. I think that's the only hole in their strategy. Otherwise, that's a great strategy. I really like it. You just have to be careful of the south window, of course. And I think that's the point of the Clash as well. I think they marry each other quite well. It's a really dynamic strategy, and it's not particularly the meta in that spot either. So good to see. And the mirror will come back into play here as they move on towards reading, which, well, this time Cactus has it. And I also suspect they'll just do another top floor hold.
A couple of changes coming in here with Ravar moving over to playing on the mute. Absolutely agree. A top floor hold screams to be the play. And in fact, we saw just the other day a team set up a mirror window on this wall where he's doing it right now, meaning you can contest into train. A lot of teams don't really look towards train as being their point of attack to get into fireplace and go for a plant. We have seen teams, and Team Secret is one of those teams that always jumps to mind that do try things like that. So maybe it's part of being preventative. It does mean, however, you have to commit quite a hold onto the white stairs. Look to cause some trouble if anyone tries to come aggressive at you from below or above. So we'll see how long Penta can hold on to that. It does enable you to hold on the upstairs, so in towards Piano once again. Could be quite a bit of trouble here for the side of MnM if they find themselves getting impact tricks off that wall once more.
I don't think they'll contest it too much, because what they're just trying to do is get them to waste as much utility before they get to the top floor, and then before they even get to making verticals or reading. So if they don't challenge it, that wouldn't be too bad if you ask me. And I think they'll do pretty much the same push here. I'm looking at the operator lineup on the attack, and for the most part, it's exactly the same. And they'll probably employ the exact same strategy. The big thing for me is that Yuzu has to stay alive, because he's going to be a key for this push. And given the time wasted getting into merely Piano last round, I think they're going to run out of time really quickly. And imagine you lose your soft breach before you even get there. Big thing for MnM now. Get those drones in, confirm that you're safe to get in, and then once you know you can get in, just do it with a little bit more gusto and speed.
They're taking a couple of moments here, 30 seconds or so, to get themselves set up on drones around this top floor. So when they do come dropping in, there's no nasty surprises waiting for them. There's no C4s. There's no one holding on stairs with an SMG daring you to step forward. Should mean they are pretty safe to get in here along most of the top of this floor. However, coming across a mute jammer and Coctus playing behind a mirror window is going to confirm their worst fears. There is something they've got to deal with on this top floor before they can even look at playing into reading. And you and I have commented quite a few times this week. We love this hold that you see on the top floor. Waste so much time for the attackers if they can't do it particularly quickly. And even once you've cleared out the hold on the top floor, you've then got to deal with what's going on inside of reading itself. It's a lot to do inside 3 minutes.
MnM aren't even worried about that whole double reinforcement in bathroom there. That's not something that they need to care about. I believe that was a prox alarm that was just shot there, and one of those grenades will be used. That's going to open the mirror as well, and that's a beautiful grenade. No ADSs to accompany. That's an interesting one there, and I wonder where Alive put them instead. But both grenades are gone now, and this gives the defenders a little bit more possibility to be able to play below without the explosive damage that might come about. And now Blaz, he's just decided he's traversing around Piano. I believe he did impact trick one of those air jabs. And when you said watch out for Blaz, that's exactly what we mean.
And C4s as well. And I mean, it started well. It definitely didn't end well. They knew a kill came through onto White Corridor and decided, well, no one's really going to need to watch that right now. We can just slowly take our time, meander towards White Corridor, and then look to contest the angle without realizing that already Blaz had slipped past them, got inside a Piano, and did untold damage there, bringing down 3 members once again. The second round in a row where he's achieved such a feat. And again, it started so well for MnM. Good droning, getting inside with the pacing, clearing out the top floor, removing the mirror. All looked great until they forgot about one small detail, and sadly, that one small detail lost them 3 of their attackers.
I'm not even entirely sure there was an air jab there, and even if there was, that impact absolutely would have dispatched of it. I'm not to say that the attackers should know that the moment you hear an explosion, you should automatically assume that it is one of the air jabs being impacted, and then you must look that way. They were so focused on getting that top floor control so they could make some vertical play that White Corridor wasn't a focus, and I praised them for just circumventing it, but that became their sort of kryptonite in that round, which is a shame. So you never know how the defenders will play, especially if they find an opening or a weakness in your push. And as we move all the way downstairs to kitchen, I was going to speculate they might do a bakery hold, but it looks like they will double reinforce it off. A nice little replay of that exact moment we were talking about, where Blaz was able to get that kill into Freezer onto the sledge and then swing around and collect 2 more. That's all makes it look a little bit too easy for him. What do you reckon about this bottom floor hold for the most part? Do you think they turtle up? Do you think they just do a VIP hold? Do they roam above? What's the best play here?
It's VIP once again. You know I'm a massive fan of wasting some time on the second floor and forcing teams to panic a little bit in the dying 60 seconds or so. A lot of that will then come down to the side of MnM and what they can do with that reduced time frame, assuming the pressure comes out of Penta to deny that. Blaz doing Blaz things, is looking to hover on the upstairs. So far, 3 kills in each of these 2 rounds has really dragged his team over the finish line. Whether or not they were under pressure, he's been there to deliver for them. I wonder if round 3 goes the same way. But MnM, surely there is some awareness here, some consciousness saying, Blaz is the problem. We need to know where he is at all times, as he is the player who can pull off moments like that. It's like playing against Shaiko on this map the other day. In fact, Shaiko was pinned in this exact spot the other day. Shaiko was forced out from above, ran round, and literally swung and clicked on the head of the player that was pushing down red and continued to run away. In fact, just like this, and then swung right and sprayed someone. It was gross. Fortunately, it won't be a repeat as Blaz doesn't find it, and he gets shot in the head. Well controlled by MnM. Unfortunate for Blaz to get cleared out so soon, so that should be second floor now available to the side of MnM.
Yeah, losing one of your key fraggers so early on in the round doesn't bode too well. You speak about the 1.5 minute mark being the moment where all attacking teams should try and start getting that vertical control, and they have. So for the most part, this is looking good time management wise and numbers wise for MnM. As they reach that halfway mark now, I think what MnM are trying to do is just apply so much above pressure that it forces Penta out. And the drones will zoom down red from focus to see exactly where that out might be. Is it coat check? Is it, I don't know, maybe coffee? Is it out towards VIP? Where are we pushing these players out so that when we go for a push, we lock them out completely? And there goes one C4, and in fact, the last C4 available. So enemy would be the last one to be able to provide any of that plant denial utility.
He's just swinging his hammer for fun at this point around. It feels like there'll be no floor left before you know it. Not to get the contractors in to get that one sorted out pretty sharpish. They're looking to try and get their way inside a freezer. Even sees a man, but the grenade in hand will give Revan plenty of time to slip away. Keeps himself safe, and all he wants to do here is hold the angle. Wait for the drop to come through. As for MnM, all of their time has been invested in preparing this drop. And if he can catch a couple of kills here, that can be lights out for the UK side. Here they go.
Yeah, that concussion should confirm he's there, Des. There's no way they can drop here.
No, and there's a smoke coming out as well, like the time being burnt through here. They haven't got anyone trying to push down White just yet to go for the pressure. I think there is a player stood there, but no one looking to go hyper-aggressive onto enemy to try and deny it. Drop comes through. They have no idea that Revan's holding on the doorway. They find one. The smoke collects a second. They've just literally walked into a death box right here. Diffuser is down. Smoke is still going off, and that's a bit too late to contest now, but is the work and damage has already been done. Nothing else to say for Penta. An excellent defense and a little bit of mistiming on the side of MnM.
The trouble is, if you want to do a freezer drop, you either need to actively contest onto VIP at the very same time that your players are dropping. You can't just assume that those feed holes are not going to spot you out if you smoke it off or whatever. There's still going to be players, you know, playing in coffee and over towards rice, etc. So for me, it felt like MnM knew what they wanted to do until they had that fireplace control, and then they kind of went, oh, okay, that concussion confirms someone's over towards coffee door. Do we just drop? Well, we don't have VIP control. We don't really have any control. The only control we have is a hatch to drop down to our death. And that's exactly what they did. They just fed and fed and fed. And that looks to be probably one of the easiest rounds. Even after that Blaz 3K, I still think that round there looked like the easiest ones for Penta, even after they lost a player early on, just simply out of the fact that MnM just pretty much gifted them 90% of the site, and they only dropped from one hatch. It's a bit of a disappointing push from MnM, but it is attack on Cafe. We've got to cut them a little bit of slack because on their defensive half, we expect a lot more rounds coming out. But going into it, they need at least, what do you reckon, 1-2 rounds on attack to really feel confident going into defense?
I think even just something so that pressure doesn't exist. And I know you and I have debated this a lot over the last couple of weeks. Like, ultimately, everyone has got to play the same number of rounds, assuming we go all the way to 12 rounds. You might go 5-1 in the first half, but it's therefore very reasonable. You can assume it goes 1-5 in the second. But it's the pressure and momentum. If you're sat there as a defensive team with 5 rounds on the board, you're feeling goddamn good. Like, yeah, boys, they aren't getting anything from us. Let's keep going. Momentum, the whatever else you want to call it, motivation's also on your side. It can be quite hard to swing that back, especially when you're looking at that scoreline and going, we lose one round and we're done for, boys. Like, it's really hard to maintain that mental, I think, in those situations where it looks like you might get starved out. We'll see how it shapes up when we come towards the end of this half, but 3 rounds in, MnM aren't showing enough goods right now to be able to deal with what Penta are bringing to the party.
Which is super interesting because here on the top floor holds they've been doing, there's no wall denial. There's absolutely no wall denial. Ace from long range, of which Yonko has brung consistently over and over again, and not even a mute jam or not even a bandit, nothing to be able to stop them, especially from getting rid of those mirrors. And somehow Penta keeps half of their walls alive for the round. And I know you can't always rely on an impact trick, but that just, it screams to me a little bit of just, I don't want to say overconfidence, but surely you want your mirrors to stay up as long as possible. How you deal with that, I don't know, but I did love that angle from down below up towards that hatch there. That was a nifty one.
Not one that I've seen someone play before either, to be honest with you, but surely the holes in the floor must have suggested to MnM that something fishy was afoot. They're doing enough to keep themselves alive against the aggression of Alive of all names to go for. This gives MnM the chance now to get inside. We are 90 seconds in. They've got themselves inside a cigar. The drone work has been completed. But now we step into what could be a really tough defense to break because they couldn't deal with Piano last time round, let's not forget. Here, they almost seem to be close to totally ignoring it as a lot of their attention has gone towards pushing utility through bar in an attempt to push those out who are a little bit further back in Cocktail. One thing you have to consider is you do now have 2 or 3 players that are going to play around storage and look to contest you when you try and go for your plan. Last time round, Yonka was dealt with despite the smokes being down. And here with the Warden on side, we know that he deals with not just flashes but smoke as well. They can literally play enemy like a turret here. Wait for the smokes to come out, peek, hold position and spray them down as they step through.
His Fonk is doing a little bit of a cheeky crouch walk up white stairs here. I actually don't think this will work. Barbed wire will give away his position surely, but there looks to be something going the way of MnM now. And with 45 seconds left, they're either baiting this plant out or they're going for it early, Des.
Trying to push their way out with a couple of flashes coming out of Fonkers, hoping that someone was waiting on the corner. Yonka has gone down. It's going to be Rivan finding yet another Cactus, finds one too. And just like that, the whole attack has fallen apart. There was the counter flank coming out from Alive, but Fonkers able to deal with that one. Sadly, he can't deal with the slowing effect that comes out of a clash, and Rivan pushing up white stairs will find a second kill in the round. Penta just know how to deal with this, and even when you've got Fonkers trying to be sneaky coming up white stairs, even then they feel prepared for it.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see whether or not that ace had been able to dispatch that mirror there. I know that, you know, for most of half the round, they hadn't been able to. Looks like Dats will disconnect and they will call for a rehost, which, of course, should be provided to them as they haven't taken a rehost yet this matchup. But 4 rounds in a row for Penta, but it is on the defense. So how much stock you put in it just yet is yet to be seen. One thing I can say is that I'm enjoying Penta's adaptation. And when I say adaptation, it's more about not being readable from round to round. One mirror which is facing towards Freezer, another mirror which faces into Piano, opening holes for impact tricks, making sure that they're not being readable in any way, shape or form is being quite good for them. But I do wonder what it is about none of that wall denial there.
I think it's a bit of both from both sides, where MnM have been sloppy in a couple of the rounds that they could have won have been down to them, really. Again, no flank drone, keeping a very close eye on what was going on with Blaz coming up white corridor. First round, same sort of story. Blaz again finding a 3k. It's just been scrappy the whole way through, and even with the freezer drop, a lot of missed timing. So I'm hoping when we come back into it, with the couple of rounds they've still got left, we can find something coming out of them, because like you and I have both said, going into that second half 6-0 down, that ain't the one, Chief.
You're asking a team to essentially win 6 rounds in a row to just walk away with 1 point. That's what you're asking a team to do. And that is such a stressful thing. I mean, we've seen teams do comebacks. That's not to say that a reverse sweep isn't possible, especially when you're moving on to the defense. It's more to say that that is such a mentally taxing thing to put on a team where players might become a little bit overly passive because they're thinking too much about, don't do this, don't make this mistake. What if we do this? We lose this round, we've lost. And then communication becomes muddled. And I mean, I know that a lot of the UK players are quite an emotional bunch. They're very passionate about Siege. They love to play with a full gusto and everything like that. So I can imagine that the comms do get rather hectic in the crux of the round. But yeah, 1 round on attack I will take from them, moving on to their defense, and maybe it will even things out. But Penta looks smooth here for the first half.
So Shun Blaz is running around getting 3Ks in 2 of those rounds and basically dragging Penta over the finish line, whether they like it or not. The third one coming down a little bit to a very rough drop as we saw coming through Freezer in round number 3. And the last one there, we all saw the outcome. The Warden, I will acknowledge, just a very nice adaptation coming out of Penta as well. They knew what was coming in. They know the attempt back in the first round came down to a bit of blind spray coming through a smoke that caught Yonka out. So fair play. It's all coming up Penta so far. What I will touch on, of course, is not forgetting that these are 2, again, of the top teams that everyone is talking about potentially being the ones that make it into the top 2 spots come the end of Challenger League. And just if you're not sure how Challenger League works, currently in our group stage, Final group stages next week and the weekend after we go into playoffs, where we'll then find out which team gets auto-promoted to EUL in place of Chaos, who got relegated just last week, and who is going to be finishing in second place to face off against the 9th place team, who will find out who takes that spot on Monday.
It's all coming to a head here, you know. We're coming to the end of the year. We've got majors coming up as well, so all of the action for Siege has not finished just yet. We're really just hitting the peak of it now. And when I say hitting the peak of it, well, we're going into the peak of the defensive half here for Penta. Probably likely they'll do the top floor hold yet again. And I kind of like how on top floor holds, Penta has Ravan play the mirror, but when you're doing a reading room top floor hold, it's Cactus who runs the mirror because Ravan needs the mute with the C4. So it's kind of interesting how they rotate that around. Everyone has their duty per side. It also goes to show a little bit about the versatility of the Penta players, I think, that a lot of them are quite flexible. The only player I've really seen consistently stick to an operator has been Alive. For most of his games, I've seen him quite one-dimensional, and I think that's what his team kind of needs, is for him to specialize in an operator or a few, and doesn't need to branch out too much more like a couple of the other flex players for Penta.
You know what triggers me most about Rehost is that players reorder the order of them on the left and the right-hand side of the screen. Because I just take down a very quick scribble of here are the 5 operators on either side, and then the players I can correlate to, say we go into the next round, and I can see, okay, Fonkus was in for the first place in the last round, therefore I know that he has changed to this operator. A Rehost comes in, I'm completely lost.
Hey, wall denial. Yay!
It's on the
very
list of
happy.
things to worry about in the off-season. We'll see.
There we go. We finally got a mute to be able to protect some of these mirrors now. So it's good to see that Ravan will place them upon some of the walls that they want to keep closed for a little bit longer. This time, however, actually, no, this is all the same operators that I'm seeing out here. It's just because you're right, the order of the players has changed.
Oh, they haven't changed at all. Yeah.
They haven't changed whatsoever. This is their attacking lineup, no matter what, for MnM, which is fair enough. If you're used to running this, if this is what you've dry run with, if you've used your scrims this way as well, why not keep the composition? I'm sure it usually works for MnM. The trouble is, I'm sure it does work, but against Penta here, they're picking apart bit by bit, and that just goes to show the skill of Penta. I think MnM are a worthy foe. I'm just wondering whether or not they're just not prepared for what Penta are throwing out here.
They were very prepared on this site last time because they cleared Cactus out with a couple of grenades flying through behind a smoke, which worked wonderfully for them. They just didn't anticipate Blaz coming flanking down White Corridor. So some kind of drone sat in here watching that corridor rotate might be the play for them. With Eustace's drone currently sat inside a bathroom, I'm suspecting that is definitely the play. They will see when he comes pushing up, it is right next to the toilet, looking straight down to the corridor. Right now, your eye is probably a little bit closer onto enemy at the top of White, mind you. You see him playing this kind of flex role where he can step up or down. Flex role. Not really the way to describe it, but he's playing this flexible position where he can help with the top floor or slink back down and help on the sides itself with some denial behind the smoke. So he is not a flex operator, but he's playing a flexible role here on the defensive side. Once more, this heavy grenade focus into the top corner is coming out, but an ADS catches it this time. Fonkus going to try and make a play for it, but gets put down by Blaz. He finds a second before finally being traded out by Nath. Blaz and Nathan both finding 2 for themselves at the start of a round, and that is a bloody affair with users down 2. That gives us about 60 seconds still to play with here, and the site now starting to be challenged by the side of MnM.
They did exactly the same push, MnM. They smoked off the mirror. They tried to chuck one of their Selmas on there. And then this time, Penta had done 2 things. 1, placed the mute jammer on there, and 2, placed an ADS so that their grenade couldn't come sailing through again. Right now, I'm thinking that Penta know exactly. They're reading MnM like a book. The biggest thing now is that they use their force and their aggression to be able to forcefully take it when things didn't go their way.
Oh, That's managed to creep his way down wide as well, and I think in this case, Enemy had zero idea that he'd assumed the position he once held, playing behind either that shield at the top or the mirror window on the downstairs. Either way, 2 wonderful, I suppose, panes of glass to play through, whether it's the slats on the shield or looking through the mirror window. Great angle up top from Dats as he abandons White Stairs and moves up. Shotgun's out for Enemy, but he's on site. There's 7 seconds left to go, and Dats has got to push now and push aggressively if he wants to go for this fight. Shotgun's out, but he's not going to connect. MnM will find that one round that you've been dreaming for them to find, Jess, and that will give them at least a little bit of peace of mind when we go into the second half.
I'm not sure if you could say that is peace of mind when it goes down to a 1v1 essentially.
Hey man,
4 seconds left.
A round is a round.
Okay. However you quantify that one, sure. That looks to be in the hands of Penta there. When he did manage to get down the diffuser player two, he moved back and he moved into a really good spot. And I believe that was enemy on the shotgun there. The trouble was, and I know this is going to sound silly of me to say, I actually think he should have ADS'd and he might have got the down onto the Ash because obviously she's only one armor. So at that range with the shotgun, you should be able to get it. I don't know if he had red dot on his shotgun either. I think that just came down to the fact that he hip fired his shotgun. To be really frank with you, I think that is really what it came down to. Of course, we're not seeing, client-sidedness and how it looked on both sides either, but that round was awfully close there. And I think Penta will be sitting there going, that was close, boys. We probably should have won that. Just reset yourselves. We'll move downstairs to kitchen, of which they won very comfortably last time they went down here. Do you think they changed anything up here? I mean, Blaz died super early last time they went down here. I don't assume that they will change anything too much. There's really no need to. I'm just wondering if they're going to employ a little bit more of a roam or if they change and just do a bit more of a turtle.
I'm not entirely sure, because my suggestion was going to be that maybe Blaz doesn't roam this game and plays behind a C4, but he's still bringing the impacts along here. So maybe there is some intent to deny the Selmas coming out. They've also got the Kaid, so potentially, even though there is no mute, the big focus does come into denial, not just on operators with things like the Legion, but also when it comes to gadgets because of those operators and the selection of secondary gadgets they brought along. I was completely wrong, however, as Blaz, of course, is going to surpass all expectations or match them perfectly, depending on what you make of him, and is here on the top floor again, looking to waste some time. I imagine he doesn't want to get himself penned into the same spot. Keep the side of MnM guessing again, force those drones to come out and try and remove some of that utility early.
I wonder what he was doing. I think he was drone hunting there, which is fair enough. That's something that if you're done early in the prep phase, you should go and do as a defender. Try and find as many pre-placed drones as you can. Each drone is like a bar of gold, a lot of people say. They're very valuable. And I think now for Blaz, what he wants to do is rather than get caught out in a spot where he can't rotate back down, which this is the spot where he can rotate back down, he can hear the air jab. And that air jab, I don't want to say it was really sloppily placed, but that's an easy shot from anyone.
Yeah, like I was saying, the time game is what I'm looking for. And Blaz, I think, is playing the smart choice by hanging near a staircase so he can get himself downstairs pretty quick. And I guess fortunate that no one had taken control of the small bakery to look to contest him as he came running down those red stairs. And in fact, he's the one in control of the bakery along with the live. Are they fancying a run out here? Yes, it is. He's going to go wide for this one as well. And this is always a super risky run out. Given you have that massive panel of fencing, you can find yourself getting caught because by the time you reach the end of it, everyone knows that you're outside. However, he is still alive in this case, and 90 seconds of the round have elapsed.
I can see them putting to work that roof above the A and B site. Last time they were really good. Is that the default? Surely not. Surely that's not the default cam. Can we get a little look to see if that default cam is still up? We can't. Okay,
No,
it's gone
gone
now. Maybe it was and they've just realized it now. However, they were spotting them out some way, somehow, and I truly 99% believe it was the default cam. So now they know essentially that it will be a yellow take, it will be a freezer take for the most part. And as they rip the wall, or rather the roof open above them, the big thing for them is to, one, not peek it. Waste as much time of MnM as possible, wasting that sledgehammer left, right, and just do what they did last time and shoot them and smoke them as they try and drop hatch. I'm hoping MnM have changed something here.
A grenade comes singing out in case there is someone trying to impact Trick downstairs. It means they will be able to get the hatch open with the help of those two Salmos. We're going to see yet another drop play coming out. I'm just hoping this one is much better time than the last. And once again, Dats is not yet pressing into VIP. There's 20 seconds to go and Ravana's tried to sneak his way in, but sadly there are far too many holes in the floor. They are going to go for the drop here, but guess what? You're walking into Death Alley. Enemy with that shotgun raised high is going to try and find something through the smoke. There is nothing to be found as Nate finds a second. Yonka has gone down once again, and Nate no doubt looking for the plant, but uses with the highest spot. Shaiko was here the other day on the defensive side and made it happen. MnM have got to kill one left. There is the plant going down. Can Alive find it? No, he cannot. Yonka is still down. This is a 1 versus 2. He has got options here. He can look to try and push his way towards Freezer. The thing is, I don't think he can get through this wall, and Yonka goes, absolutely, you shall not. Brings him down, and MnM will find their second round in a row, and quite crucially, Jess, their second attacking round.
super crucial round there. I'd asked myself sort of at the end there as kind of like an internal and external monologue, have they changed anything for this push? Do they know what they need to do here? The smoke actually was better timed from them for the drop, and it also managed to get Revan down. That was the biggest hit there, was they lost their coffee door presence from Penta, and 2 of their players were a little bit probably too close to Bakery. They weren't close enough to the drop to be able to respond to it. I think they thought maybe it would be a pinch push. There was probably no reason to assume that it would be, considering they were all above and the only real way they could come down was red, white, or the hatch. And I think overall they made possibly a little bit of a misjudgment in the capability of Revan shoot, 3 people dropping a hatch, let's be frank. But that's good. Now MnM will move on to the defense and win 2 rounds in a row here, and I think this looks pretty comfortable here for MnM.
Time for Utility Simulator, it feels like, with the Goyo and the Maestro being brought out here by MnM. Speak about a lot how this can real cause issues for teams when they know they've got to deal with all this utility, but normally you have to eat through both the Wamai and the Jaeger. Wamai is banned away, so it's definitely not world ending for them, but clearing out things like Pixel and dealing with the pressure and aggression coming out of storage or inside of the bathroom is no doubt going to be a big consideration for them. They are leaving half of it soft. We speak about this setup all the time. You'll see Funkus drop a shield in the middle of storage, and from here he'll be looking to contest into Piano. Someone comes trying to swing in through those windows, guess what? You're going to have to deal with the Funk.
I know it's such a nitpicky thing for me to say, but that ADS that will persist in front of the shield, I would have liked it to have been placed next to the shelf instead, because you can actually wallbang that ADS. I know it's such a tiny thing to pick up on, but it's little placements of things like mute jammers, magnets, ADSs and everything that if you don't place them flush to something, it can be shot from a wide angle somewhere or disposed of quite easily. And sometimes that one piece of utility can save you the round. I know it's really minor, but it could end up, being why that shield gets destroyed.
Jess, this isn't you. Why are you basically apologizing 3 times going like, I know it's fickle, I know it's pedantic, I'm so sorry, I don't know why I'm being so harsh, I shouldn't be like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Just come out and say it. Lose your rag like you always do. Fly off the train and go hard on it.
Yeah, they should put that ADS on the wall. The end.
Thank you. Much better. Without the apologies, it's so simple to listen to, see? Not hard at all. Yonka was trying to play kind of aggression under the skylight, daring someone to step up and peep, but I think there's a little bit of sensibility on the side of Penta, looking to play off the back of drones at least initially, and in fact are committing quite a few to this. They're already down 4, maybe down to their, well, down 5 actually in this case, may even be down to their 6th quite soon if they aren't too careful. But as it with Nath is holding aggressive as well inside of Cigar, wants to try and contest onto the red stairs, is challenged but doesn't go down himself and equally doesn't find a kill back the other way. Forced to back away thanks to those smokes. No, sorry, smokes. Flashes coming out, sorry. No ADSs to help him hold there any longer. He will retreat back and almost get shot in the back on his exit as well.
He's lucky to walk away with his life there, because that power position from the skylight should oftentimes net a kill no matter which way you sort of run from it if you do expose yourself. And for the 9 times out of 10, the part of your body that does get exposed is hip up. So that's the really key part to shoot of a player. Are Penta just going to leave that closed and then just keep the rotate to top red? Yeah, that's a smart idea. I really like that because, yeah, it means that you can't see what enemy's doing, where he's standing. Nath is going to lose a C4 as well. Smokes are raining out super early. This is not good for MnM.
And he challenged on Cactus on stage as well, and Cactus wins that gunfight. That was such a crucial power position, because now they can't deny the push that might come into Bar through the Cigar doorway. Got to be so mindful of a plant into bags coming out, and Usus at this point, he's been trying to hold back onto Cactus, and Cactus playing on stage hasn't got to worry too much because he knows that it's highly unlikely that Usus will go too aggressive, but I think here, that might be the play. You need to make something happen because your team could crumble here if they aren't too careful. You've got Nath stepping into the shoes of Fonkus from before he died. Yonka's going to find another kill, and Nath is down to almost nothing. He has tried Fate twice this game, but sadly enemy will not give him a third chance. A couple of kills come flying in either side, but MnM walk away. The victors here, it looks like, alive in a 1 versus 1. Does he know the last man? He sees it! No way does he find it! Penta taking it away on the back of Alive, literally coming alive in the dying seconds. And MnM in a round that they thought must be theirs will not find the win.
There is no way in hell you let that go that way. Under no circumstances, when there are 2 seconds left on the round, does it go that way. One magazine of an SMG-11 won them that round from Alive, who has played a pretty quiet match so far, to step up and clutch that round from absolutely nowhere. I think there's a lot of players on Penta that can do a lot of things, and Clutch is one of them if you're alive.
Ooh.
Oh God, that should not have happened, Des.
I live for the excitement on Cafe. We always get things like this. Like with
I know.
Shaiko the other day. Now it's another French team. I'll tell you what it is. It's the French on Cafe. I've figured
It's
it
the
out,
French.
Jess. We've absolutely cracked this problem. We know it's that when you put the French on this map, fireworks are due to fly. Can't wait to see another team try it out if they come from France. Either way, 5-2 for Penta. In what probably could have been a 4 versus 3 game if we'd seen MnM manage to not lose that round in the dying seconds. And Penta are going a little bit creative here. Whenever I see an Amaru and I see a French player, I always think of Tempera and the way that they love making use of this operator on maps like Consulate. Here it's Cactus trying to make good use of it. We'll see what the plan is, because given we are playing on the downstairs site, and there is a very heavy setup coming out of Eminem to kick things off, this could be as cheeky as just trying to blitz your way into Fireplace and trying to make a plan happen. Given there is no mirror looking onto the wall out towards White Stairs, they could get away with that as long as the drones are well placed to kick things off.
Do they have anything to really deny that? They've got feed holes, of course. I mean, that's a given for most setups. Maybe Dats will be the one to hold train on his own. If the push does come out, at least the call will come out quickly for everyone to rotate, and that will be maybe the calling there for Eminem to focus towards Fireplace. I'm not sure. They've not opened the hatch either, so there's no possibility for that to give them a little bit of an indication. And that actually would have been sort of in the favor of Cactus there for the Amaru. That would have been something I would have thought he'd shoot up there, get the plant off, and jump down the hatch again. But given their top floor take, maybe that's not the play for him.
No, maybe not. I was assuming window maybe, but alas, he's actually playing out towards the west instead, so not even interested in looking at Fireplace at this point. And I always wonder, if you aren't making use of Amaru for the gadget, why is she a focus? Why do teams bring her along if there is no intent to try and make a play like that? And I would love to know the answer. I'm hoping you can enlighten me, Jess.
I have a guesstimation, and it doesn't even matter. It actually doesn't even matter because he's playing the G8 Hollow.
G8,
No, it's not because of the G8 as a whole. It's more that you can have the secondary in line, and it used to be that you could have the ACOG in line with it as well. So that's something that people really favored site-wise. I think in this particular occasion, I want to guess that I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they actually picked it strategically and that he wants to do a hatch hop. I'm not seeing the play now, but maybe it's a post-planned hatch hop. I don't know.
Either that, or this is where you just go to the team and go, oh, so we'd love to know, we were theorizing for ages why you chose to bring this operator along here. Can you please explain? And they're like, just really like the operator, lol. And that's about as far as it goes. That has happened to me a couple of times so far. So sometimes it does just come down to individual player preference. However, maybe this one a little bit of an int for the team. We'll see what impact it can have later on. And speaking of impacts, well, bit of a grenade landing at the feet there of Alive. Takes about 25 HP of damage, but still left in the fight. Yonka equally not looking too healthy himself, but he's still holding in that famous spot for a Maestro right at the back of Cocktail, supported by Fonkers. Between them both, just looking to try and waste as much time as possible, or even find a kill or two. That's exactly what Yonka is going to do. Cactus going down, one more playing at the top of White. This is a very solid hold coming out of the side of MnM. I say that, and like that, two of them have gone down here. Alive is injured in response, but it's still 2 dead for the side of MnM.
They've got this really good crossfire going on here in top floor, and Penta are failing to be able to deal with them. I know they got rid of the Maestro, but they're down to about 15 seconds now. There's not enough time, Des. They've got to zoom on a site, they've got to frag out, and they've already got vertical control for Eminem. It's still in their hands. Dats pretty much wins that round for certain now. And now it's all up to the fragger of Penta. It's Blaz. 2 seconds left, 2 headshots needed. Nah, not gonna happen.
Some might say that's the round.
Oh, good one, Boomer.
Thanks. Just remind me of that, why don't you? Yeah, that's there. They clearly didn't have a drone in place to have any idea where the last 2 players were. It's kind of more of a mad scramble in towards the site, hoping for the best, and all it takes is Dats to pop his head out, spray down the player that had just dropped from the balcony. So good patience being shown by him, not wanting to get caught in the furrow of the firefight that took place upstairs, bringing the game down to a 3 versus 3. MnM still managed to cling on here. 5-3 to Penta. It's not looking like the dominant lead that we assume we might see after 4 rounds back-to-back in the first half. So fair play for MnM to find in 3 rounds, while Penta have only found 1 in that period.
I did say that it would look good for Eminem if they were able to win some of these defensive rounds. They've looked pretty good, and especially in that round, they held top floor for almost the entirety of a round, which can be hard to do when you're up against a formidable opponent like Penta, who would know exactly what they need to do to get it. It's just that I think Eminem have better underneath pressure. And when I say underneath pressure, I mean they have vertical holes from underneath to be able to assist the players who are playing upstairs if anyone did push in. And I think Eminem played that better than Penta actually played that on the top floor for the reading hold. So I'm not surprised Eminem walks away with that round, not as confidently as they probably should have, but nonetheless, a round is a round, as you say. And finally, we're seeing that infamous bakery hold with the rotate coming out, this time from Eminem. Do they have the Malusi? They do. Funkers has one more Banshee in hand. So I'm wondering if that gets placed as the run-in for bakery, because that's really when you want to slow people down. I don't know. It depends on Penta's push here. I'm going to say that the Maverick is for a bakery push.
It makes sense as you're just basically ignoring the denial. In fact, we saw it just the other day now, I think about it, where the whole focus is forget about the denial, forget about the vertical as best we can. Just go straight to side. Do not collect $200 and get yourself straight in for that plant around the objective. There can still be some focus on the upstairs. We saw a couple of players, I think, in BDS's game actually looking to cause some trouble on the upstairs. You still have to worry about contesting them when it does come around to running into the site itself, but normally some counter spray upstairs can do that, or a cheeky grenade from below can sometimes get lucky. Who knows? But with 4 frag grenades on side, keeping a very close eye on how best they use them. Is it for the utility, or is it to try and go for kills?
Where's the bakery hold? Hello?
Right here,
Is this for free? Is this all free real estate? Oh, Blaz, it's your Christmas all at once, my man. There you go. Come zooming in. You've had less than 60 seconds for this round, and they've already gifted you this Christmas, last Christmas, and this upcoming Hanukkah as well, because that's exactly what we're getting here for Penta.
I really want you to go this Christmas, last Christmas, and this upcoming Christmas, and I'll be like, Jess said the same thing, 1 and 3, sorry. Either way, Cactus is focusing on getting the reinforced wall open, so they have more angles to play behind, but here's Nath and Dats, both trying to go slightly aggressive. That is the sledge down as well, without those frag grenades being used, I believe. You can see users are still holding on the upstairs, waiting for when that push comes through prep, I think. So the only one thing that the rest of the members of MnM have to worry about here is this breach being opened up and when the push comes through. There he is. Being cheeky on the upstairs, having a jolly old time, just daring them to try and peek their head through one of these holes so we can take it straight off their shoulders.
This is the only counter to giving bakery away for free that you can do as a defender. You can't start throwing bodies at the one hole that you've made up as the rotate. What you need to be able to do is have this vertical. He's got prep vertical. He's got default grills plant vertical. He's got everything he needs. And if you're Penta right now, you need to send someone up there to either distract him when you go for the plant or deal with him completely. Otherwise, that power position will render you useless.
Speaking of being useless, well, you're pretty dead this round, I'm afraid, Dats. Grenaded out, we said, what would those 4 grenades do? We found an answer for it. The rest of Penta spring into action. It's Ravan and Blaz to pick up a couple of kills in the mid-round. MnM are down 3. They have Funkers and Nath left alive. They have a C4 on side, potentially for the plant denial if it so calls for it. And I would imagine a couple of smoke canisters left. There goes 1 being brought out, 2 left in the back pocket as Nath will pop out and find Blaz inside a red. Another one comes through. Yet another smoke canister comes out. I don't think that's connected onto enemy who's going to stick this one out. No, it won't. And now that is down, this is dire straits for MnM. Needs to try and contest something here, and maybe going aggressive is the play. Funkers tries just that. Turns out, Jess, it is not the play. 1 versus 2 left. Nath all by himself, going to retreat back to the previous position and look to try and find these longer angles. But Penta, they're a little bit wise to this. They know what's going on here. No reason to try and peek the long angles just yet. Wait for him to run in. Ravan missing the head. But enemy is there to collect things straight after. Good round from Penta. And unfortunate about the denial game there for MnM, given they still had 3 smoke canisters and a C4 left as the plant came through.
I'm really sad because I missed what happened to that vertical player as they ran in to go for that plant. I also missed that plant position as well, unfortunately. So there's not a lot of analysis I can really do on that execute there, just purely out of the fact that I missed a bit of that information that will probably be crucial to being able to understand why MnM missed that vertical. Did someone look up and shoot? Was it just a lost gunfight? What happened there? Did he not really have the vertical he needed? Why were those smokes so misplaced? Was it miscommunication? There's a lot to ponder there, but most importantly, match point here for Penta. They've secured themselves at least 1 point. And if you're looking at the scoreboard right now, if you're wondering where you can check out the scoreboard, you can go on to Liquipedia. They've got all of the European League, Challenger League, Season 1, Group A and B listed on there. So you can suss that out if you want. They're currently draw, well, they'll currently be 1 point above homeless if they draw, and, well, they'll be 3 above homeless if they get this win. And it's starting to look that way, unfortunately. Eminem haven't been able to string multi-rounds together, and when you can see a team that can't string multi-rounds together, that's probably screams that they won't be able to pull 3 in a row just purely out of that fact.
You want to know what happened? The mute upstairs, Yuzu's, died to Blaz, who actually rotated his way back up to North Bakery and then pushed down Red before eventually being caught out by Nathan. So it was what we assumed might happen. It was the kill from below, the up thrust coming in and then rotating out otherwise. It's always risky to go for that because I feel if Blaz is stepping into the Maverick holes that have been opened up onto the Bakery wall, then sure, it's just the head being exposed. But if you're pushing in full view of your body,
Yeah.
Yuzus is going to see his feet long before he ever sees his head.
Absolutely. Only way to really get around it, I guess, is a prone. But, I mean, you can hear
true.
a prone from a mile away. The shuffling takes quite a long time. The weapon
but up
can be
through a
seen
whole
beforehand.
floor and through a wall.
Yeah,
Probably not.
It's hard to know. I mean, we can go back and watch that later and sort of see exactly what had happened.
Exactly what I did, Jess.
Thank you.
I'm not big brain. I didn't catch out that's more than that happened. I was too busy screaming at the action. But we're very fortunate to have a slightly delayed feed that we can refer back to.
Excellent. Speaking
Need to get you
of,
set up with that.
is he aware? Oh, so unlucky for Dats. He could have got a free kill onto Blaz there, who came storming in. Really no information as to whether White was actually clear or not. He is so lucky he walks away with his life here. This is match point here for Penta. So the sooner they can cap this off, the better, because not only does head-to-head matter, but round differential also does come into play later on as well, if something like a tie ever comes up. Not that it would into playoffs, but for the most part, you want to walk away as confident as possible. And the less rounds you show of your gameplay, the better for VOD reviews as well.
A couple of changes for the site this time as well for the side of Penta. With how they set themselves up, there is no IQ, there is no Habana, but there is a dead cactus from Yuzu striking big inside a cigar. Last time around, it was Nate playing inside of here, so I'm kind of surprised. They've made a couple of changes coming around, but either way, a kill is a kill, no matter which way you look at it. And Penta are looking pretty shy on drones here. Only 3 left alive, 1 for alive, quite literally, and 2 for Blaz. So that means you're really going to want your Ash to be playing on that supportive role, but guess what? He's lost one of those drones already. They are down to very limited information, still a great deal of time to play with, but here, look, it's just a blind challenge onto Yuzu who's playing inside a cigar.
Oh, how do you win that
Shoot his
gunfight?
kneecaps, I guess.
Nice shot coming out nonetheless. He must have flicked to him in a flurry there into his traces. And with 60 seconds left on the clock, at least for MnM, they've got a double man count to look forward to. So that's really good for them. Blaz is in a position where that C4 is an easy shot for him, like clay shooting if you ask me. And now if he can get rid of the shield here, he should be pretty good, but I believe an ADS ate that up. So Dats, he's got a really good level of reinforcements around him here with these Go-Go shields.
He's basically a tank playing on the pixel angle right now. They've got to get through all this armor to be able to deal with him, and they're still trying to think, well, how the hell do we deal with this? I'm pretty sure they're out of impacts at this point if they can't try and force that one through. And Blaz had to push his way back down White after taking some smoke damage. A trade coming out elsewhere around the map. Still looking towards White. That is pretty solid right now. Not really much to be done for Blaz unless he can just walk his way through. Sadly not, as Dats will collect the one out, bring him up to 4 rounds. 6 and 4. 2 rounds for MnM to force the draw. Only 1 for Penta to take the win.
That was really well played there. I think from Dats in that power position over towards Pixel and bathroom door, I would say that was probably the biggest indicator that MnM had full control of top floor. They couldn't get rid of the Go-Go shield behind him in White Hallway. They couldn't get rid of Pixel. They were trying to just force gunfights that probably weren't quite favorable to them. And as a result, you look towards gunfights, you look towards engagements, and you look further away from the objective, and things start to get muddled, more advantageous angles coming out from MnM. And as a result, boom, MnM can carry that round into a win, which is quite, a good feat for them considering they need 2 more rounds in a row just to scrape away that 1 point. And they really do need that 1 point. I can't sort of praise, I guess, Penta enough for their gameplay over all of this Challenger League season. But MnM, unfortunately, they drew against Kavana, meaning that they lost those 2 extra points, which would have propelled them very safely into the top 4. They're going to be there regardless because Be Kind and Black Mamba haven't had a win. So they're going to be top 4 no matter what they do, right? There's no possibility for the bottom 2 to come up into the top 4. But Kavana could overtake them in the next Playday. There could be a couple of shakeups to the 1 to 4. And you don't want to be at the bottom of the playoffs going into it because that is a little bit of a confidence thing as well.
confidence thing, and also considering who you have to play against on the other side. The way it works is how you would expect. Fourth place in Group B plays first place in Group A. Fourth place Group A plays first place in Group B, and then you have second and third switching places between the groups as well to face off against each other. Right now at the top of the other group, it's Windstrike. You have Gamma Gaming also sat in second place, who look a little bit weakened since Crying and next one, of course, moved on to playing Chaos. Heaven knows what's going to happen to those guys now. But we're in a spot where I think with those on the other side, you don't really want to face off against Windstrike or Gamma. Both are playing quite well. And you would wager as Heretics and Matchco, who are currently sat in third and fourth, you definitely don't want to play against Penta, MnM, Homeless, or I'd argue even Cabana at this point. These are 4 really scary teams in Group B.
Oh, do it, Nafe. Do it, Nafe. This isn't easy. This isn't easy. Oh, that's quite a lot of health taken off of the Kali. And in fact, Kali can shoot the hatches from a god long, length away. So why he stood right over it is beyond me. We've seen a lot of those C4s come raining up through the hatches. We've seen Pulse's version of it. We've seen many different iterations. That's my favorite one because it's something that the attackers don't think about always, is that a pre-placed C4 could be on the hatch.
Nothing comes of it just yet outside a bit of a scratch onto the Kali, which you saw back in round number, I want to say it was round number 1, and maybe it was earlier on the desk. I don't remember. You saw a Kali and got very excited and saw it 6 picks away and then got very sad.
Yes, round 1 to deal with the clash. 6 picked over to Zofia though, so not that bad.
Not enough to make you deeply upset. Bonker's going to be deeply upset at the fact he's gone down inside of white here and uses on the challenge. I was about to praise MnM, or start on my point of praising them. That's a brilliant support coming out from Dats as well. Finding a kill to keep users alive, at least for now. Someone's going to have to recover him, but it is so risky in red corridor. But Nate's going to say, throw caution to the wind. I'll be getting my buddy back up, and he is back on his feet. I will touch once again on the drones coming out of Penta. With 75 seconds left, just like in the last round, there is a single drone left alive on the field.
MnM are doing a little bit of a hand-holding party down the bottom of white. They've dispersed now, but it seems they've given up top floor. With 60 seconds left, that's not too bad. I don't know, does Nafe still have a C4 in hand, or is he just going for the flank here? It's a very good question. He doesn't, so this has to be the flank. And Penta struggled last time they wanted to take top floor here on reading. So they need to make something of this particular round. 2 breaching charges still in the hand of Ravad. So there's a lot of verticality they still can get. I'm just worried they don't really have the map control or the drones to deal with this flank that they might otherwise have. And maybe that's why Cactus is moving down. Maybe there was a drone there in red.
That's why Ravan fired a concussion into the back of Cocktail. They don't have drones to find out if someone's there, so they have to rely on utility instead. And this was my fear, is that now Nathan and I think it was Yuzu are in such a wonderful position to strike big late in the round. It was fun because Sorry was playing on half stairs. I thought he would wait until the drop came through for the planting reading. And without drones, Penta are just like lambs to the slaughter here, walking into member after member, flank after flank. And MnM are having a party. They're having a field day. It's going to be then going up to 5 rounds here. It's going to come all the way down to round number 12 to find us a winner, even if Nate gets a little bit excited and blows himself up on Cactus's Claymore. I'm angry.
That's a little... yeah.
Freebie.
Wow. I love that because he quite frankly shouldn't have died, you know what I mean? It's not something that would have been round changing or impactful whatsoever. It's just going to be a detriment to his Challenger League stats at the end, realistically. It's going to give a little bit of a pad to the stats of whoever's Claymore. I believe it was Cactus's. I'm not entirely sure, but this is my fear for Penta, is that when they've been attacking top floor, especially when it's the reading side, if the site is not top floor and they can't get that diffuser down or seemingly pretend like they're going to with those fake smoke baits, then they struggle just to get top floor ever at all. And when they do, it's down in the last 20 seconds and they're time deprived. Now we'll go down to kitchen. Will this mirror be the saving grace here for MnM? And how will they set up? Will they set up the same way they did last time? And I'm thinking with a bakery extended hold, but this time a mirror to assist them so that they don't lose out on it in the first 60 seconds.
This is quite different for them here because they have the Clash and the Mirror coming along in place of the Kaid and the Smoke. So less denial when it comes around to the actual plant, but a lot more focus coming in on actually being aggressive in the first place and trying to hold, like you say, in towards Bakery. One thing I've got to give a shout out to MnM for in this half of the map, and we have seen 2 teams here that really flourish on the defensive side of Cafe but don't do so well on the attack, is how aggressively they have roamed. Whether it's Nathan, whether it's Yuzus, whether it's Fonkers, they are out in the map playing in really weird spots like in Red Hallway half the time, just trying to constantly contest against Penta, kill those drones, starve them of information, and then be willing just to try and, again, snatch bodies away from the side of Penta when they least expect it because there's no drones or information left. So I'll give that to them. The roam game from them has been excellent in this second half.
I wonder if Penta will change their attacking strategy here. Yeah, that default cam's very important there, Cactus. You know why? Because Eminem didn't realize it existed for 2 minutes on their particular round. But at least Penta knows it exists. And now I wonder, do they do the same push they did last time? Blaz is on the buck. And you know why? And I don't think a lot of people understand this. On Cafe, when you're pushing bottom floor, taking a buck over a sledge is actually important. Why? Because you can do a lay down skeleton key angle over towards Coffee. And when you're a sledge, you can't do that lay down angle because you don't have the longevity of the skeleton key. You can't get that with your sledgehammer. And hopefully Blaz will give us a demonstration of this above soon, because that Coffee angle is what Penta have been using against Eminem, and it's what lost Penta a lot of that, I guess, side control last time.
We'll see if it shapes up to be. Right now, it's more just constantly checking there's no one trying to give a cheeky flank. It's where you'd expect a flank drone to come into effect before normal programming is resumed, and he's straight back on smashing the floor open. What I'll give to Penta here, we always love talking about that benchmark of pace of getting these floors opened up. They've been doing this now since about the 2-minute 10, 2-minute 15 mark. They've got those drones in. They found there are no roamers coming out of Eminem. No big surprise, given there's a mirror and a clash on side, and they're getting to work very, very quickly. This should mean when it comes down to the execute point, they aren't going to find themselves starved out of time, but heaven knows what can happen between now and then, whether there's some C4 kills to come out or a self flash coming out of Blaz, you name it.
That angle that Blaz opened up before towards Coffee was the one I was talking about, over towards mining, or you can do it in train as well. Either or, it doesn't matter. And for the most part now, I think Eminem have just sort of evacuated the site for the most part. They're either standing in really safe parts, they've got a shield in front of them, or they've gone out towards bar, VIP, or bakery, and Penta doesn't have control of any of that yet. And with 60 seconds left, this draw might be the saving grace for Ravan, but the time will not be for Penta, and this has been their biggest enemy for their attacking rounds.
I touched on how much time they had, from 2-minute 15 all the way down to 40 seconds remaining. They are still trying to deal with some crucial aspects of this defense. Oh my god, Dats. Try it once, try it twice. Normally you get picked off. Try it a third time and they absolutely will bite your leg off for it. He goes down as the opening kill in this round at about the 30-second mark. Penta once again pretty much entirely out of drones. This is going to come down to some heads-up play here, and you've got to deal with the clash still of all things, which is going to make this absolute hell on earth. But guess what? He manages to push in aggressively. Blaz is forcing this round by the skull and dragging it over the finish line. 5 versus 3. Yuzus misses the spray and gets traded back out immediately. Revan swings back in for the double kill, and here comes the plan. Fonkers, no! Does he hold it? Shoot, brother, shoot! He finds a double kill! Almost gets himself traded out in the exact moment, but collects it, and just like that, they're able to run the clock down. This is why you have someone holding on the upstairs angles for you. What a beautiful shutdown coming out of Fonkers. That's going to close things out in a draw. What a game we have just witnessed between these two titans.
What a play from Eminem. They needed all of those rounds in a row, and their defensive half was exactly what they needed to bring them back to a draw. It looked dire in the first half, but Eminem said, well, we can bring it back, and we'll do so in a very confident fashion. You said shoot there at the end, Des, and the reason he didn't want to shoot was he actually wanted to count to 7 seconds, or rather 6, and be sure there was no time left for anyone to shoot back or go for a secondary plant, but it didn't matter in the end. Double kill and then a triple. What a way to end that matchup, which gives them the draw.
What terrified me was I saw the red outline coming from the left and just thought, they know you're above, they know you're above, just shoot, just shoot. I honestly thought he was going to get pre-fired and die there. They made it goddamn close, but fair play by Fonkers with some wonderful trigger discipline, the kind that we haven't seen since Chloroform on that mirror in Coastline over in APAC just a couple of play days ago. Either way, one hell of a game. 6-6 it ends, another draw for Eminem, but a well-deserved victory. Let's go over to the desk and get their thoughts on this match.
Absolutely crazy. Or hello,
What happened?